Welcome back to Vaulted Views, where we help financial advisors see higher, think bigger, and grow smarter. And so today's guest is Jessica Perez, a partner at MileMarker who spent 2 decades in the industry, including senior leadership at Carson Group. She's not a tech salesperson, guys. She's an operator who has sat on your side of the table. And you know, she did try to recruit me once. So let's talk about the low view on AI right now. Advisors, I know you feel the pressure. And so you start buying all these tools, a note taker here and a chat bot there, maybe another dashboard tool. And then a year later, you've got a dozen logins that in all these systems don't talk to each other and a big, huge bill to show for it. But the Vaulted View, my view, hey, stop building what somebody already built better. Own your data and your client relationships, and then just partner for the rest. The advisors who win the next decade aren't the ones with the most tools. They're the ones who get back to being advisors. And so this episode is going to be really fun. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ray. Good to be here.
Oh man, we go back like a long time together. Back to the Carson days.
Yes.
Remember that?
I do remember that.
You were all trying to recruit me.
You were like one of my big fish that I didn't get.
The fish that got away.
The fish that got away.
Yeah, the fish kept growing.
Yeah.
Now you're trying to hook me.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk a little bit about MileMarker today. So before we do that, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about your journey, who you are, and what you're all about?
Yeah. Jessica Perez, SVP of Growth Initiatives at MileMarker. I've been in the industry for 20 years, just over. I don't want to date myself too much. I know I look really young, but started out, I was telling Ray about this, as an internal for a private equity real estate development company. So nothing better than getting started in financial services by jumping into a firm like that in 2007. So right before the market started to have a little bit of fun, and learned a lot there. Became a VP of a territory, realized wholesalers make a lot of money and that I am good at talking to advisors and getting them to do things. So started out there, then I made my way to Carson, which is where we met. I was the VP of the West Coast region there, doing business development, growth, recruiting for them.
And you did really well for Ron. I know Ron, he's a great guy.
He is.
And so then you were at Carson for a while, and then what happened?
Then in 2022, I left and decided to go out on my own, started my own consulting company where I was helping advisors, still making the transitions and move and figuring out what is best for them, because I loved Carson and what I was doing there, but it's not a fit for everyone. You know that, right?
Yeah.
We went down that path, and I wanted to help advisors figure out what was the next best move for them. So started my consulting company. And the one thing I didn't really have was a lot of tech background. And Judd had left. So you know Judd Mackerel, he is the CEO and founder of MileMarker. Mm-hmm. And we knew each other from our Carson days. And so I would bring him into conversations with advisors that I was talking to when it came to the technology and experience aspect. And eventually Judd and I started talking more and more and more, and eventually decided that partnering together made more sense, where he had resources, scalability, a vision, right? You understand the visionary component. And what he needed was somebody who could help to educate the marketplace and really elevate what MileMarker was doing.
And you're a perfect partner for him. So quick, funny story. So I've been following Judd forever. Judd's he's a fantastic marketer. I see his stuff on LinkedIn all the time. I got his newsletter coming to me. I'm like, you know what? I need to reconnect with Judd. Reached out on LinkedIn. Hey, let's set up a call. I click on some calendar link. Hey, dude, I got on your calendar, right? Which I hate. It's like, hey, we could just FaceTime real quick, I mean, yeah. Very professional though. We gotta, I get like 25 minutes, like not even a full half an hour. And I'm all excited. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna reconnect with Judd. And I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. I'm in the Zoom or whatever technology we're using. And then pop up, here's Jessica. And I'm like, you're not Judd, but I think I just got an upgrade.
Yeah, you definitely did. Love Judd, but I was happy to do that. When he told me he was talking to you and he couldn't make the call, I was so excited because you and I hadn't talked in a couple of years from then.
I know, it's great to reconnect. I'm glad you're doing the pod. Yeah. So All right. So tell me, like, what did you see in the industry that you just decided to go all in on data and tech? I know you just talked about your evolution, but we're at an inflection point, right? And so here you are, now you're in data and tech. What's that all about?
Yeah. What I realized was most firms and advisors had the same problem. It wasn't a tool or an advisor problem. It was the underlying infrastructure and the data. And the technology continued to grow. And what advisors were really trying to do is capture an experience. Good advisors care about the experience, whether that's other advisors on their team, their support advisors who are helping them, and the clients. And what I was seeing is that was very hard for advisors to figure out. They were all trying to figure out the same solution because of the same problem. Siloed data creates a bad experience. And so how do you figure that out? How do you fix that? And a lot of these companies or firms were promising a better experience, but they weren't delivering on it. And so when I kept consulting with Judd and talking to him about these things, we figured out he had already found the solution to the problem. You got to unify the data to be able to utilize it in the best way possible. So that way you as a firm owner and advisors can make the best decisions on behalf of their clients and become more efficient. And so I realized everybody was going through the same problem and MileMarker had the solution. So how do I help amplify that solution to the world? Because most firms thought it was too expensive to build a data lake, to unify their data and to create an experience. It's not true.
It's really interesting. I just remember this as you're talking. There was like an initiative or something. This was years ago. It was like called Silver Bullet. Do you remember any of that?
No.
And it was about connecting your CRM to your financial planning tools, to your trading tools. I think the industry is trying to get behind the kind of a singular protocol for how do you connect data. And I think most advisors look at that as like, hey, does my wealth box connect to my note taker, right? They're just looking to connect services together. But really what Judd has created with MileMarker and what you're here to talk about is no. The right way is to get the data from all these systems and house them in a unified way, right? Because, I mean, we see it. You enter in a household into a financial planning system, well, that might not necessarily be keyed in the same way as it might be in the CRM.
Correct.
Right. And so when it's all unified, now you're feeding these systems instead of the systems feeding each other.
Yes. And this problem is only amplified with the evolution of AI because people want more and more to use for AI, right? And so having disparate data systems, they're wasting time. They're becoming more inefficient of saying, okay, which one of these systems is my source of truth, is my system of record, right? Because the CRM data might be different than your custodial data, which is different than your PAS data. So how do you know which one to operate off of? And then how much time is someone spending trying to fix all of that?
Right. So in theory, I know a lot of advisors out there are playing around with their Claude or the Chat GPT. You know, they're thinking, if I can plug in my wealth box into that or my financial planning tool or whatever it is, that should be good enough. The LLM will figure it out for me. In reality, you know, what's transpired, I talk a lot about AI. If you guys follow me, I do a post every Friday. I might have missed the last one. I might be behind. It's been busy conference season. But, you know, talk about having a unified data system, your own brain, if you will, right? That knows everything about you. And then you got to be careful with everything about your clients because that's PII data. So we got to make sure you got the right kind of architecture and infrastructure there to protect that. But then your LLM learns from your company brain. And so MileMarker's kind of vision is, in a way, if I can say it in my own words, right? It's like the company brain for the data that you have in all these different silos. Yes. Is that a fair way to say that?
Mm-hmm. It's a simplified way. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, she's just talked down to me.
No, I believe it's a little more complex than that, but that is the reality is what is the central brain for your business? What are you operating and building from? And how are you creating a core system that knows what is true about your data, how your business works, what are your processes, your unique logic, your unique way of doing things? All of the systems that are out there, they're pretty good, but they are not built for your firm. They are built for the vast majority of the firms who look like you. So I always say technology today, especially in our world, is a solid 80%er, right? It's a good B. It's a good B plus.
It's a good B.
It's a good.
You never got one of those, right?
No, not ever. Oh, A plus student here always. No. But that's what happens, and so you need this additional layer to really help elevate all of your technology, to take it where you need it to go, to build an experience that looks and feels like your firm. You cannot do that in any one of these platforms because they're not built for that. They're great for what they're supposed to do, but they're not built to create scalability and infrastructure for your firm specifically.
I love that. So let's just fast forward to what I think is the future problem. I don't think there's a problem today, but with AI and everything else, I think there's going to be a future problem. The question is who owns the data, right? Like, let's talk a little bit about that, because now you've got the CRMs adding AI into to enrich your data. You've got your note takers that know everything about you and your clients, right? You have custodial firms, your broker dealer firms, they're building out AI. They're all gathering context. Like, let's talk about the importance of owning your own data.
It is very important. And you are starting to hear this more and more. Everybody believes, I'll say this, most of the advisors I talk to believe they own their data. And then when we start to ask a little bit more questions, depending on what firm you're at, what technology you have, what type of agreement do you have, we start to figure out who actually owns that data. And then to your point now with AI, who owns the context behind the data? Who is actually learning the behaviors and the patterns and all of those really good deep insights that you want out of your data? It's not you.
Right.
And so it is imperative that all firms own their data. And at MileMarker, that is part of our tagline, own your data, control your destiny. Because if you don't, how do you decide where your firm goes and what you're going to do with that data?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it too. I even go back to even succession planning or exit planning for financial advisors. Like, how much more valuable is your practice going to be to a buyer if you own your own data, which includes all your context, how you do business, how you would treat that client, what were the workflows behind that, right? All those things about how you operate your business. It's not just they're buying the book of business anymore. They're buying your context, your intellectual knowledge that nobody else has, which is up here in your brain, which is now in a digital brain. That's going to have to be table stakes in the future.
It is. Firms are going to pay more money for firms that own their data, who understand their data. That is one of the use cases at MileMarker that actually surprised us. Firms started coming to us because they wanted to own and control their data to go get private equity, to find a capital partner. And we never realized that was such a huge opportunity because these firms were trying to understand their data. And if you've ever talked to a private equity firm or if you've tried to get capital partner, they want to know all of the things about your data, your demographics, all of these breakdowns that I didn't realize was that hard to get out of your data. I thought this was something you can get from your performance accounting system or your custodial data very easily. And we realized no matter how big or small the firm was, they didn't have control over their data enough to be able to go give that to a capital partner with confidence. And if you don't have that, who's going to pay you top dollar for your firm?
Interesting. All right. So now most advisors, you've been tuning in. If you're still here, you may have a little anxiety. We keep saying data in general, so let's try to dumb it down a little bit, right? They're very smart. My audience, very, very smart, but maybe not so techie, right? So when we say data, we're not just talking like client data. You integrate at MileMarker financial accounting data. Let's just talk
financial
about
planning data.
What that could look
like. If you're using a tax planning software, if you are using things for research, for performance, for proposals, for allocations, your third-party asset managers, all of your data can be brought into a unified data infrastructure. There are different ways that you can do that, right? So you have the APIs from some of these bigger companies, and If that's too much for people, it's really just the connectivity that directly sends it. So think about it as like a pipeline to say, hey, here's all of my data that lives inside of like an e-money program. Well, we need to get it into the data lake. The API is what sends it directly there. We can also ingest files into this, right? So you have a lot of different ways to bring the data into this from all of the different entities that you work with and the vendors and the partners. But even if you have like a giant Excel spreadsheet that controls compensation or allocations, you can bring that into there as well. So what it's doing is it's really giving you a way to take these individual processes and data sets and bringing them all together into one place.
Yeah, because I think most advisors wouldn't even know where to start,
Yes.
right? So Excel's easy. I could build an Excel spreadsheet in a little bit, even faster with AI.
Yes.
Right. But then how do I scale whatever the spreadsheet is that maybe it's calculating compensation, right? How do I scale that? And MileMarker, once you have the data,
Correct.
you have the consulting capabilities to help advisors build out custom workflows.
Correct.
Right.
And then to create automation. So why are you using that Excel spreadsheet? What is it solving for? Where are you getting those data sets? Who needs to see it? What is the end outcome and result of where we're trying to get with that? And a lot of times we can eliminate the spreadsheet and save people dozens, if not hundreds of hours of putting together reports. One of my partner firms I talked to last week, and he said that one person on his team said they're saving 38 hours a month in just building out basic reports.
That's crazy.
Yes.
38 hours. Yeah. I mean, I believe it because you've shown me a tool that you built out, right? That can literally pull in and create a client review with one click, pulling in data from the CRM, pulling data from the financial planning software, pulling data from the tax planning software, right? In one click. I mean, it can take an assistant, hours to get that right in the format that the advisor wants, specifically in the workflow of how they want to have the conversation with the client during the review, all customized.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Everything from formatting down to presentation, all of those things matter. And right now that is partially automated for some firms, and then a lot of manual work of, hey, I'm meeting with this client. I need to be able to show them XYZ things. And then you have your, ops person or maybe a junior advisor going inside of your financial planning software and grabbing this. And then they're going into your custodial data to grab this and your CRM to grab that. And it takes a lot of time and it's clunky. And that's what we want to minimize is people's ability to do things in seconds, if not minutes, that has historically taken hours or days or weeks.
So let's dive into MileMarker's view, right, a little bit.
Okay.
So we talked about like own your own data, right? So tell me, I'm victim of this. I like the flashy object. I chase all these different tools. Many times we buy a tool for our advisors, and then nothing really happens with it, right? So tell me about advisors who are like me, who love the nice new flashy object, like why it's so important to hit the pause button on that and to focus on the data. Yeah, because the data, it just sounds boring. It does. The flashy object, the nice new note taker and all that other stuff sounds great, but data, kind of nerdy. It is kind of nerdy. Like compliance isn't sexy, right? And it's the same thing with data. So a lot of times what we're seeing right now, if you look at that Michael Kitch's FinTech map. Yes, it keeps growing. It is crazy how many new pieces of technology come out, and it's not slowing down, right? And you do see some consolidation or some of these companies go out of business because their burn rate is really fast. But everybody can sell something that looks really good. And you go to these conferences, you've seen it, and everybody has this cool tool, this cool widget, this cool thing that can do something. And they always tell you, yes, it does integrate. Oh yeah, we can plug into that. Or yes, we could do this. But big picture, it's not going to give you the solution that you want. So sometimes it's hard to onboard, not easy to understand. And if you're using it for that one solution, are there other ways that you can do it? So if we paused and we took a step back from all of the tools and you looked at you and you said, hey, what is your vision for the future for your firm? What do you want the experience to look and feel like? If I'm an advisor that partners with your firm, how should I feel joining you? What should I expect out of that? And if I'm a client,
what should I expect? If we started to look at it with the end in mind and then we worked backwards, people would buy less tools because you would understand it really comes back to the data and the data ownership and the data cleanliness. And then you layer the experience on top of it. Good data in, good data out with AI and with any type of output that you want. So if we started to just back up a little bit, paused, worked on the data infrastructure and realize the data will give you everything you need to market to new clients that look and feel like your clients, to find advisors that you want to join your firm, and then to get more business out of your existing clients already. The data has all of that in there. So people are spending so much money on marketing and all of these tools to do these things. And instead, if you took a step back, supported the data to unlock the power to do what you want on top of it, you could grow your business so much faster.
Wow, you just mentioned data so many times in a very exciting way. Oh, Jessica, you crack me up. So, yeah, I see that. It's almost like we're at a time in this spectrum of our careers, building our businesses, where we went down, we added all these tools, right? And then AI comes along, and we realize, well, wait a second, it's not about the tools, because I could vibe code something pretty quick. I've done it, right?
Yes.
Vision OS, if you go to the Quotient Advisor community, I vibe coded that myself.
Really?
I did, yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. But you're like Judd.
Production.
You love playing around with the tools. You like getting in there and building stuff.
I'm tech forward. I'd like to say I'm an early adopter. But my point is now I hear advisors going, well, I don't really need that piece of software because I can just use Claude to replicate that, right? So it's not about the shiny objects. But then if I want to ask Claude about my business, it doesn't really know everything yet. It doesn't have access to the data. And there's a lot of people out there online, they're talking about creating your own brain and everything. And that's what I've been talking about because I've done it myself. Like I have my own personal brain. I use it to help me with all my personal stuff. You know, we're not there yet to be able to do that with client data. We're building out our whole infrastructure around protecting PII and all that and getting it approved with our compliance folks and everything. That's going to be really exciting. But what you're talking about really is the flashy object stuff. You might be able to scratch that itch with your favorite LLM provider. But you're only going to be able to take it so far unless you actually have the chassis, the data structure the right way. And that's where MileMarker fits in. Yes.
And also, every advisor shouldn't be doing that, right? You shouldn't want to build all of your own stuff inside of Claude. You should. I did a webinar a few years back. You might have remembered it, but it's build by partner. And I'm sure you think about things in the same way. Can I build this on my own? And is it more efficient? Can I do it in a better way? Or is there something out there I can buy that does this more efficiently for me? Or should I partner because I want some influence in this situation? It needs to be a little more custom. That is how I believe advisors should be looking at this. So yes, there are technologies out there like MileMarker that can help to automate things and give you access to the insights inside of your business. And Claude and Gemini and Copilot and all these things are creating really cool tools for individuals to be able to do things. But my question back to a person like that would be, why are you doing that? And is it the highest and best use of your time?
Exactly right. I mean, we talk about how much time an advisor actually spends in client-facing activities. Like my whole goal is I want my advisors advising, my back officing, my marketing people marketing, my tech people teching, right? Like, let's just stay in our channels. And so I don't want advisors playing around with tech. Like,
No.
This whole conversation, if you take one thing away, it should be like, I need to partner with somebody who's doing this for me so that I can just enjoy delivering advice and being there for my clients.
Correct.
Right.
Because on average right now, we are giving back advisors 5 to 10 hours a week.
What?
By unifying this experience together, I can give you back, if you're working 40 hours a week, which most advisors either really outwork that or they are underperforming because they're a lifestyle practice, which again is okay. But if I could give you back that much time, that's 25% of a 40-hour work week, right? If I can give you back that time, could you prospect more? Could you take maybe clients golfing, which again still is prospecting?
Yeah, or split the time, spend more time with your family.
Yes.
Enjoy life, right? Like, I mean,
yes. There are so many options and opportunities there, but that's the benefit of technology. Technology should give you scale It should give you back time. It should give you confidence. Like that's really what this is designed to do is if I have all of my different data sets unified, I have more confidence in there because I know that they're all talking to one another. I know that I can see it and understand where might there be discrepancies. Right now, when people look for data discrepancies, it's let me download a spreadsheet from this company, this company, this company, this company, and then it's stale at that moment. And then somebody is having to go in there and manually update these and figure out what is the source of trust that we want to use and in what system. And now I have to go update that here, 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 and here. Such a waste of time.
Yeah, and advisors are wasting their time on that. Their assistants are wasting their time on that too. I mean, this is great. So help the viewers understand. All right, what does it look like when a firm partners with MileMarker? Right? I mean, you showed me some really slick stuff. So I do like the flashy object stuff still. So the boring stuff is the data behind it. But now that you're surfacing it, obviously there's dashboard capabilities. And I mean, what's the advisor's day-to-day for an advisor who's affiliated with a firm that uses MileMarker kind of as the back end, right?
Yeah. The advisor is going to experience one place that they log into. So I sit down on my computer, my cup of coffee, I open it up and I see this advisor dashboard and it has insights specific to me and my business. What is relevant that I might need to take action on that may be out of compliance, right? NIGOs, high cash positions, risk tolerance variances. There's just so many things. And then I can take action immediately from there. So I can go in and resolve some of these things. I can see where my new assets are, if they're pending, if they're in motion, if I have upcoming meetings, people who have partial or fully funded RMDs, all of these things that you really care about to run and operate your business. Yeah. You're going to see that. You're going to be able to take action, do the workflows, open up new accounts, place trades, all of the things that you would have to go into multiple systems to do, you're going to do in one place.
And you're able to do that because all the systems are connected through the database.
Correct. Because the front end UI is branded to the firms that we partner with. So no one's logging into a MileMarker platform. It's built for you. It is your digital experience on your brand, your domain, your everything. It looks and feels like your firm. So that's what I love about this is we are not the star of this. It's how do I amplify your experience and create more visibility around everything that you want to do for these advisors to deliver value for them, to say, hey, look, you don't have to worry about those things because we're taking care of it for you.
So if do I ever need to log back into my CRM if I have access to the data in MileMarker?
We don't believe so.
You chuckle on it. I hit a point there. What's this about?
It's because the CRM is a catch-all of data. And if you're an advisor, what is the value that is in there for you in the CRM? And what am I going in there to do? Sometimes right now it's for workflows because that's where I go to open up a case or a new task and to see data insights about my client. So I can see if they like wine, if they have kids, if I'm logging my notes inside of there. If you're using something like a note taker, you can bring your notes inside your CRM, right? So it's a catch-all place for them. But what do they really need to see out of it? And so if you create an experience with MileMarker, a lot of times the advisors don't have to go into those systems. And so we are seeing more and more licenses be mitigated or downsized because the advisors don't need access to that. Your support staff might, but the advisor has a view that is personalized to their business and their needs, surfacing all of the insights and the best of what's in a CRM, and then they can write back to the CRM. So you have capabilities to push back and to pull.
You just hit on a really interesting point. You said the advisor gets to see what they want to see, but the assistant still may need the CRM, right? So it's not really about disintermediating CRMs,
yes,
right? So I mean, we're still going to need databases of this stuff, and maybe the database resides elsewhere outside of a CRM because there's different UIs that access the data. But my experience is like for my advisors in my own firm, they only want to see what they need to see.
Correct.
They know that the business needs more data and context, but when they're in the day-to-day, it's like, I just need to know this, and this, and I'm good. And I can move on to serving the next client and prospect or whatever.
Yes.
Right. And so you're able to customize the advisor experience so they see exactly what they want. If they want to update a record, it updates in the CRM. They have to then go leave that and log into the CRM.
No, it pushes to the CRM for them. So you don't have to go into that CRM and do anything. And the same would be true if, let's say you have an assistant and they're working inside of the CRM and you need to see stuff. It's going to push it back into the platform. So you, again, don't have to log into the CRM to see that.
That's really interesting. And then you logged into, it was interesting. You have this AI tool. What was it? It's
Navigator AI.
Oh, I thought it was called RAI. Right. No,
that's what you're going to call yours, right?
Oh, I can customize that?
You can.
Okay.
We've actually had people do that. So I was going to bring that up because that's another thing I didn't mention when I said, what can an advisor expect? Right now, all of the tools that you work with are building out and coming out with their own AI agents. But again, it's a point solution AI. So it's only going to be able to read and understand or give you feedback.
It's coming just off of your data.
Off of whatever is in that one system. So MileMarker has layered on top of the platform we're building for you an AI agent that understands all of your data. So it lives on top of the data lake infrastructure. We partnered with one of the largest providers out there, Cortex and Anthropic, to be able to do this, to layer on AI for the individual advisors. So now I can ask questions about my business and it knows me. It knows what my data is based inside of this infrastructure to then give me real-time outputs. So instead of me emailing you or your team to say, hey, I want to understand this and this about my business, or going into these tools to try to find these, I ask it in natural language. I can query my data, and in seconds, I get a response that I can take action on, that I can build other things on top of. Then I can have it live in my infrastructure forever.
Interesting. Okay, so I missed that. So you were mentioning in the individual tools, they have their AI that they're layering in, but within MileMarker, since all the data is in this, you call it data lake, right? All the data from all your systems is unified. Your agents now have the context of everything across all the shiny object little tools that I've added to the business over the years.
Yeah, we call it a super agent. I don't know that we found a better name for it.
I think RAI. I think that's a great name for your agent. Let's go, Judd. Come on, Judd. RAI. I think it's cute.
I actually like that. Yeah. I can't wait to implement
It's only 3 letters.
Right? I can't wait to implement that for you guys.
Hey, thank you. This is salesperson. I love it. Always the assumed close. But I want to make the distinction, right? Because this was also an important point. Like, your agents aren't learning context, though. Right?
We're not training on the
You're not training,
data.
Right? So it's the client data, the PI data is sitting in this secure environment, this data lake. Your AI lives within that system, and it's only reading. It's not going after the internet or whatever.
Correct.
It's just your own data. So if I said, hey, show me my trailing 12 revenue.
Yes.
Right. It'll do that.
Correct.
Right. Because it has, assuming I connect our, financials into that, right?
Yes.
It can do that. Now show me my most profitable clients.
Yes.
It'll give you that. I don't know this for sure. I'm making the assumption and she's confirming. So, you showed me one, you asked the navigator, you said, show me my clients in the highest tax bracket.
Yes.
That was interesting. And that's because you pulled in tax data from one of the tax integrations.
Correct.
Into the data lake.
Yes. We talk about data a lot, but this is why data is important, is if you think about all of the underlying things that matter in that, it's the data sets that feed the AI that give you really good results that you can have confidence in. And if you're not confident in it, you can ask it, hey, why does this look different? Or I think this is inaccurate. I'll give you a really good example. We had a partner firm that was using it and it said, show me my top 15 advisors. And it looked mostly right, but one of them seemed a little off. And so that team called us and they asked us about it. And I don't know if it was Judd or Kyle. One of them said, just do me a favor, ask the navigator, like, hey, this looks a little bit off on this one advisor. Can you show me? Well, there was a remark that never got balanced or realigned or figured out that was showing up for this advisor. And so it was adding assets to their book of business and inflating their numbers. And so we found this on behalf of the portfolio accounting system. And that firm told us it would have taken a very long time for their firm to figure this out.
Just to discover the problem.
Yet alone figuring it out with the portfolio accounting system. So the navigator agent understood, okay, if we know it's this one advisor, let's go look for outliers inside of here and let's tell you what happened.
And that could have taken their staff days, if
That's
not
what they
weeks, to figure out.
Or how long would it have taken to really catch that? Until maybe the executive wanted that report, right? So when would you have figured that out, and at what point? And then how long would you have to go back to try to figure that out on behalf of the advisor?
That's amazing. There's so many benefits to all this stuff. It's only getting better.
It is.
It's crazy. So so for the advisor out there who's watching this, you know, they might be feeling a little bit of pressure about AI. It's everywhere. I mean, the last conference I was at, all the executives are talking about AI. Most advisors are just scratching the surface. They probably downloaded ChatGPT on their phone or whatever, playing around with it. There are others that are more advanced in AI, but still really early stages with doing anything with client data, unfortunately, because of the security and restrictions around compliance and regulations. But they're feeling pressure out there. Like, what do you have to say to them? I mean, there's so much going on. Their heads are spinning.
Yes. My biggest encouragement to you is you're not behind. A lot of people feel like they're behind, and it's because we're hearing this so much. It is at every conference, but even the broker dealers, a lot of the RIAs, they don't understand how to put this in place and how to implement it. So everybody's trying to figure it out. So I always want to give people some encouragement there that you're not behind, but you have to be smart about how you're thinking about AI.
Yeah.
And again, we're going to speak my book here. You have to start at the data level. And so instead of focusing on how can I leverage AI, what am I going to do with AI, what is this going to do for my clients, start from the beginning again and start with the basics. Get all your data in one place to figure out how do I layer AI on top of it. And then if you partner with the right people, you don't have to solve the AI problem. People are investing millions, if not billions of dollars into this. And so that's what my encouragement is to advisors, depending on what your lifestyle looks like, depending on what your book of business looks like, depending on what your goals are and how long you're going to be in this business, is where you're going to evaluate what's next for you when it comes to AI. If I'm 67, 70 years old and I'm thinking about retiring in the next couple of years, why do I care?
Right.
Why do I care to learn something this new? Do I have a Gen 2 advisor? If I don't, who am I going to partner with that's going to help me implement AI in a safe and secure way that doesn't make my brain explode, because I don't want to have to figure this out. I want to be able to serve my clients well, and that's what you should be doing. But if you're a 45-year-old advisor, AI, it matters to you. It really does. But again, should you be spending all your time on this? No. I think that you should evaluate what your firm really means to you and where you want to go with it. If you want to grow like crazy and you want to keep your independence, that's different. If you want best-in-class partners, talk to you. Look for another partner who's investing in technology, in AI, who has a team to support them in the resources and capabilities to really grow. Because a partnership is designed to say 1 + 1 = 5, not 2. And that's what you're going to get out of working with firms who are investing in this versus you trying to figure it out on your own.
Judd, I'm giving her an offer right now. I'm stealing her away from you. She's an incredible saleswoman. Jessica Perez, great close on that.
Thank you.
I agree with you 100%. And thank you for joining Vaulted Views today.
Thanks so much for having me. This has been fun.
It was a blast.
It was great.
We'll do it again.
I hope so.
Okay.
Judd loves California. We can get him on too.
All right, Judd, you're next. All right. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
See you. And so, financial advisors, let me leave you with this. The low view, it treats AI like a shopping problem. Buy more tools, build your own infrastructure on nights and weekends. I know I've done it. And tell yourself you're keeping up. But you're not. You're just spending money and attention on something that somebody else has already built better. The vaulted view is what Jessica lives every day at MileMarker. Own your own data. Own your client relationships and partner for everything else. And that's why I believe community is the future of advice. The advisor figuring this stuff out alone will move slower and spend a fortune. But advisors plugged into a platform and a community, you're gonna move further and faster. And so thanks to Jessica and the team at MileMarker and to Judd Mackerel for all the connections and the experience over the years. These guys are fantastic. And I want you to go head to rayluciajr.com to learn more. And if you're tired of building all this alone, Come see what we're building inside the Quotient Advisor community, where advisors get the platform, the tech, and the people without trying to build all of this stuff from scratch. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. Stay elevated, stay strategic, and stay vaulted.